I greet you in the name of Yeshua Messiah, Jesus Christ. It is the 27th of July. It's the early hours of the morning, and I've just uploaded the previous video that I recorded. Yeah, it was a lot longer than what I thought it would be, but I needed to go through all the various aspects of the calendar to complete the whole picture, so I hope that it's added value, and that those that might have been a little bit confused or might have been a bit concerned about some of these calendars, that it's helped to shed some light on the subject. I mentioned in that video that I believed that our calendar is correct, and that we should in fact only have started this year in April, not in March as the Hebrew calendar starts. And I mentioned also that I believe that there are some events that are going to happen in the next week or two that may just confirm either these events are going to confirm or reject the understanding that I presented to you in terms of the way I believe that we should be determining the beginning of the year going forward. So we're in that time of testing, but I thought it would be of some value just to go through what I believe the sequence of events will be over the next couple of weeks, or let's say the next month or so. And it's really also just building on what Alan presented in his last video, that he was referring to 2 Kings 25, and maybe just cover these aspects and how they could possibly align to what I believe to be the true calendar. So I'm not going to go through all the details again to get a clear understanding of why I believe this calendar is the correct calendar and aligns with the timings of the scriptural timings of where we are right now, and which then I would suggest if you need more detail on this, how I got to this calendar and why I believe it's correct, then I want to recommend you watch the previous video that I've just uploaded, which I did. It was dated for the 26th, so I've just moved. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning at the moment here in South Africa. I'm just waiting. That video is uploaded. I'm just waiting for it to be for the YouTube to finish processing it, and then it should be available on YouTube. There are a couple of people already subscribed to my channel, so they'll get a notification straight away. But once it's been published, I'll also put a link on the forum for those that are interested to have a look at what I had to say with regards to the calendars. I'm going to keep this video a lot shorter. It's really just to finish off what I what I wasn't able to complete in the last video, because it was getting a little bit long. So what I want to share here now is I've marked on this calendar what I believe is going to happen over the next couple of days, and I want to explain to you why I believe this will be the case. And it's related to 2 Kings, Jeremiah 52. I was 2 Kings 25, Jeremiah 52, and also Ezekiel. Now, I've previously spoken about Ezekiel. I really believe that Ezekiel is speaking to us about the events that will happen throughout the time of seals. And starting off with our time frame right now. So I've marked out the days that are mentioned in Ezekiel, and I've marked out the days. I've highlighted the days here that are mentioned in 2 Kings, and as well as the days that are mentioned in Jeremiah 52. And I've shared on the forum before, and I just want to reiterate here, what it appears to me is that we could be looking at 3 attacks, if we can call it. The initial one, a much smaller attack, a very small attack on probably the leaders, Netanyahu and maybe some of the other leaders, or just some of the other leaders, but there's something in there in relation to 2 Kings 25:3, that on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for people in the land, and the city was broken up, and all the men fled by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which is the king's garden. And now the Chaldeans were against the city around about, and the king went away towards the plain, and the army of Israel pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and his army was scattered from him. So there's something happens to the kings, or to the leaders of them. If this is all a type and shadow, which I do believe it is, and as Alan has suggested, also I totally agree with him. I think it's right on, that this could be a type and shadow of what we're expecting to see on the ninth day of the fourth month. So on our calendar, the ninth day of the fourth month is now July the 29th. Of course, on the Hebrew calendar, sorry, I've got a sneeze waiting for me here. Just see if I can get this to subside. On the Hebrew calendar, well, you'll see our 9th of Av is of course still to come, because on this calendar we're still in the 9th day of the 4th month. On the Hebrew calendar, which is the same one that I'm just going to refer to, the one I used last time, you'll see that the 29th of July, or where we are now, we are on the 27th, the 7th day of the 5th month, and the 9th day of the 5th month is coming up. Well, on this calendar, I think on the Hebrew calendar it's actually flagged as the 30th of July. There's a day difference between, you'll recall, if you watched my previous video, that this calendar is more in line with the guys at World Last Chance, and there is a day or two difference between World Last Chance and the Hebrew calendar, but other than that, it's largely pretty much the same calendar. So this is where their Feast of New Wine would be, well, the 9th of Av. I believe the true counter, the Feast of New Wine, falls on the 9th of Av, the day that Moses returned after his 40 days and 40 nights, the day that he found the Israelites worshipping the golden calf, the very day when the Feast of New Wine would have been celebrated as well on that same. So all those events happen on the 9th of Av, or the 9th of the 5th month. There's just a day difference between. So to get back to, so that's where they are at the moment, but I believe we are in still the 4th month. So something is going to happen for them on their 9th of Av, but it's not the event, the bigger event. This is a much smaller event. I think that's going to actually trigger something. So on their incorrect 9th of the 5th month, something's going to, I think this is what lines up with 2 Kings 25:3, and it's also repeated almost verbatim in Jeremiah 52:6. I'm not going to go there now, but it's, well, I might actually go there's a slight change in the difference in the dates later on, but okay. So 2 Kings 25:3 is pointing to the 9th of the 4th month, which is around about the 29th or the 30th of July. I believe it's the 29th, and this will, what I've called, this is Attack on the Leaders. That'll be the first kickoff event. Then we've got what's mentioned in 2 Kings 25:8 is that you've got on the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, that was when they burnt the house of the Lord and the king and the houses of the kings in Jerusalem. And so this is that attack this is now a bigger attack. This is the initial attack, what Alan has called the first attack. This is not the final attack, but the initial one, which doesn't take them out of the land, but it certainly is going to be quite devastating. And so if this happens on the 7th day of the 5th month, then on our calendar this would be the 26th of August, 26th, 27th of August, somewhere around there. So this is much closer now to what I believe to be the true 9th of the 5th month and the Feast of New Wine, and this is where I believe we'll be expecting something to happen in terms of the escape of the bride. So I think we'll definitely see this, and we'll probably see this, and very shortly after we're going to see, I think we will see this happening either the Friday or the Sunday, or maybe it's one of that, as per that little boy's vision, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday situation. But I think we can look to the any time between the 28th and the 30th of August, or let's say any time from the 27th of August to the end of August. I think is the high watch, is certainly my suggested next high watch date. And I'm going to share some stuff with you that was shared on the with Charles and Mike and Amish, which also actually is pointing to this day. But I'll get to that just now. So this will be the next attack, which, and it's interesting here that in 2 Kings it says on the 7th day of the 5th month, but in Jeremiah it actually says, it's almost verbatim. I suppose, let me just go there quickly. Jeremiah 52. And we see there that it was the 5th month in the 10th day of the month. So all the rest this is verbatim. 4th month in the 4th month in the 9th day of the month, that was the initial attack on the leader group. This time it clearly says Zedekiah, whereas 2 Kings it doesn't say Zedekiah, it just says the king. But here it says on the 5th month in the 10th day, so that's slightly different. So it looks like we've got a range of some events are going to happen. That attack. Maybe it's a 3-day attack or something like that. Maybe that's what it's showing. I'm not sure. It was just interesting that Jeremiah, everything else is almost verbatim except the actual 10 verses 7 in the 2 books. So those, and then of course we've got in 2 Kings 25, I'm just going to go back to 2 Kings 25. Now this is not mentioned in Jeremiah, the 7th month event that Alan also he pointed out. We have the Gedaliah that's been made ruler, and then shortly after that there's a time different. There's a time when Gedaliah is actually leader before the final attack, and I believe that this is the time when Gedaliah, so from somewhere here through to here, so it's about a month and a half or so, maybe it's a month and a week or so, that Gedaliah is the leader. But then they get to, so in the 7th month Ishmael, this actually now this is the big attack, this is the final, and Gedaliah gets killed and the people flee. 2 Kings 25:6, so there's a fleeing. So this is the final attack, which will happen probably, it doesn't say on the 1st day of the 7th month, but I'm assuming that it'll probably be close to Feast of Trumpets, somewhere around there. So that'll be the third and final, and that I believe will be already, that the Third World War will have already started by then. So let me just go to Ezekiel, because Ezekiel overlays on this as well. I've spoken about Ezekiel before in some of the scenarios that I presented before. Okay, they didn't look like this, but I did mention that Ezekiel is clearly pointing to the time of seals, and so I just want to bring up Ezekiel. It's chapters 1 to 11, and then the main subjects of the 11 chapters are as follows. The first chapter is the arrival on the 5th day of the 4th month. So Ezekiel sees the Lord arriving, and he describes it in great detail, and it's a very similar description to what was it Daniel that saw it? I just got to remember right now. But there was the whole description that he describes here is similar to I think it was Daniel that actually saw it in a vision as well. But anyway, one of the other prophets saw a similar type of vision. Anyway, that happens there. So that's already passed now, because we've already passed the 25th of July, and it seems like an event that not everybody is aware of. Then during chapter 2, Ezekiel's given warning instructions and all sorts of other instructions that continue into chapter 3, and then there's a 7-day delay. He's like, after all this, he's like days that he sits for 7 days. So there's a 7-day delay between receiving the vision there. So if you count off the 7 days, it takes us here to the 12th day of the 4th month. So from the 5th day to the 12th day, there's a 7-day delay, and something happened. And then we see here, this is when Ezekiel has to start his 40-day siege. He first has to make a model of Jerusalem, and then he's tied up, and he's basically tied up for 40 days. Well, let me rephrase that. in the book it first describes the 390 days, and then it ties him up for 40 days. But I believe this is the first, last will be first, first will be last situation. That's just my interpretation. I could be wrong, but I believe that they were given in a reverse order of what they're actually going to transpire. So I believe the 40 day, he's tying up for 40 days will occur first from around about the 1st of August, and that will continue on for 40 days, which takes us, there's 30 days in August plus another 10, so it's somewhere around the 9th of September will be the end of the siege time period. But during that siege time, we've got this attack that actually happens, and then I believe that after the siege time, because after, he immediately went from being tied for 39 days to 40 days, being tied, and I think that's the other way around. So they will follow after one another, and I believe this 390 days is the Third World War. Will be just over a year, and so basically a year and what is it, 40? It's 30 days, a year and a month, and so I believe that will actually start on the 11th of September. As soon as the siege is finished, then the Third World War will actually start on the 11th of September, 9/11 event, and they will continue. Israel will still be in the land during this first stage of the World War until here they'll be taken out here, and maybe during this time is when USA gets disabled, that they're unable to help Israel at this time when this attack happens. So something happens, by this time the escape's already happened, and this is where all the really bad things start happening to the USA, and the Third World War starts. But the attack on Israel, I think, will happen here after after USA has been disabled, and then the war continues. So I believe the war will start here, and the 90 days, 390 days start there, and it'll end on very close to the Feast of Trumpets in the following year. So in 2021, that's the Red Horse Rider will end. I think that the Red Horse Rider will be 390 days long, and then starts the Black Horse Rider, etc. So, and we in this time here, this 40 day, in this time here, we've got the 40 days of Jesus, the Son of Man, also coming through during this time. We've got the 40 days, I believe, where the Son of Man will be leading us up to, well, I think the end of the 40 days will be somewhere around there, and then a few days later Israel gets attacked. So I believe that Son of Man will be here during the time that USA is disabled, and during this time of mass confusion around the world, and if those comets or whatever those objects are that they say are going to hit the earth, if they're going to happen here during September, then it'll probably be at the time that the Son of Man is here. Personally, I don't think that. I think they'll be. I'm a flat Earth believer, and I don't think those things will be actual, comets or debris from outer space. I think it's actually going to be man-made stuff that's going to be causing this problem. But anyway, that's just my personal view on the matter. Whatever, regardless, it's going to be a chaotic situation over here in this time. So I think that pretty much covers what I understand. Okay, I just want to cover something that was shared in a recent video with Charles and Amish and Mike, and it was very interesting. That was right at the end of their video. I think this was the 17th of July one. They were just about to wrap up, and I think it was Amish that remembered that they wanted to share a prophecy video, that somebody had received a prophecy on the 10th of July. Now, I know they talk about the 13th of July, but if you listen carefully, when I play it, you'll see the prophecy was received on the 10th of July, and it was only published on the 13th or the 14th of July. So I'm just going to play it, and then I just want to show you where I believe this prophecy fits in on.
As that being said, hey, thank you guys, everybody, for coming. Guys, thank y'all for watching us for 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Hey,
really
Mike,
appreciate it. What's up, boss?
Were you going to share that video clip?
Oh, okay. I totally forgot. Oh, guys, there was one more thing. Thank you, Amish, for telling me. There was a prophetic word, and it just so happens. Let me go to it. Hold on one sec. Right when I was about to wrap it up. So this was a prophetic word given to Byron Searle, right? And this was actually on July 10th and 13th, but it could have been July 11th, depending on what time he got the word. But I'll let you listen to what she says real quick.
July 13th, and it was released July 14th. Scripture given on July 10th was Genesis chapter 41, verses 33 through 36. Now therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land.
Okay, we'll go forward a little bit.
Food in the cities.
Pharaoh gave, they got 7 years. Byron Searle's getting the word that we have 7 weeks from this time.
In prayer tonight, the Lord spoke the words, 7 weeks to me. I asked, 7 weeks? He then repeated, 7 weeks. I then heard the Lord say, as I gave Joseph,
7 weeks is 49 days.
I will give you 7 weeks. The vision I gave you of fights in the grocery store will take place after the 7 weeks.
So 7 weeks, she's talking about Byron Searle saying everything's going to break out in 7 weeks. Now, if some of you guys have been following the channel for the last few videos, you would have.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there, but I just want to. It was I just want to go back to the part where it was clearly received. As I know, I'm sorry that the volume is a bit low, and so this is a video being played on another recording, being played on a third recording now. I could go to the original, but I'm just going to. I want to give credit to Amish and Charles and Mike for having found this, and I think that they found something very important. But I just want to get to the part where she says clearly that the vision was received on the 10th of July.
Listen to what she says real quick.
July 13th, and it was released July 14th. Scripture given on July 10th was Genesis.
Okay, so did you hear that? Scripture given on July 10th. She said scripture given, so she said, she mentioned the 13th one, but she said scripture given on the July 10th. So there's no doubt in my mind that it is, that this prophecy was received by Byron on July 10th. And he was told 49 days or 7 weeks. So if we go to the date calculator and we put in, okay, now we could put in 10 July here and add the 49 days, but what you need to be aware of when this calculator adds 49 days, it does not include the day that you put. So if I put the 10th here, I'm going to just go back and let me, just so that you're aware. I don't know if everybody is aware of that. So if you put the 10th and you add 49 days on this system, the 10th is not included. And sometimes you want to include that as the first day from your count. So day 1 you want to include on the 10th. Now in this particular instance, I believe we should be including the 10th, the day that he received it. So in order to include this day, you have to put the day before. Okay, so if you put the 9th in, then it'll include the 10th and add 49 days. And if you calculate that, okay, it comes to the 27th of August. Okay, so we're looking at somewhere around 27, 28 August. All right, if you add for this particular vision, and then that's the date we were looking at. So to get back to this calendar, what we were saying is there's the 27th, 28th of August. And so that's the 14 days from the 10th of July to when to adding the 7 weeks. That's where it brings us to. So I think that this prophecy that was received and shared at with the guys, with Amish and the guys and Mike and them, is actually confirming that we will be here at least until 28th of August, and I believe which is the true Feast of New Wine. And so I really believe that's supporting it. And then the last thing I just want to mention to you guys before, there was, I mentioned in my last video that the Enoch calendar count, the solar day count and the lunar day count are out of sync by 35 days. And I know that Amish and Charles and Mike have been doing a tremendous amount of work matching up the scriptures to the Enoch day count and the Enoch for the solar and the lunar day count. And I was hoping they would pick up on my last video where I showed them that there was at least a 35 days, or at least a 5-day, but probably more likely a 35-day difference between the start of the lunar day count and the solar day count. So if we take their dates that they originally came up with, 21 to 23 July, and you add the 35 days, which I believe they're out by. So if you take the 23 July date, which they suggested was a potential escape date, and they came to that conclusion based on scriptural alignments, and you add the 35 days that I'm suggesting that they were out by, then you get to exactly the same date, the 27th of August. So I really believe that if you guys, Alan, at least Amish and Charles, Mike, if you go and have a look and just see how these 35 days, have a look at my previous video and you'll see how I explain this 35 days in greater detail. I'm not going to go into detail on that now, but I think if you bring that into your timeline, I think you're gonna see that this date will probably line up with this date, which I think is going to confirm where we're really going to be at the end of the day at the Feast of New Wine. Anyway, I'll leave that to you guys. I just wanted to share this with you. I've shared it on the forum as well. A few suggestions on some of the comments there that we're looking at this. So I'm going to sign off at that with this, and then I will share this video shortly as well.